Okay. I'm joined by Guy Barrington, and I've lost. Oh, you're back. I lost your camera there for 1 second. I'm joined by Guy Barrington, who is one of the facilitators coming to the Bliss Festival in Galway in July from the 11th until the 13th. Hi, Guy.
Hi. Hi.
So I'd like to invite you to share with those who are watching. So they could be people who are coming to the festival, there might be people who are thinking about coming, or maybe people who might even come next year. Just to share a little bit about what you're bringing to the festival.
Sure. Okay. Well, primarily I'm a dance teacher, and
Mhm.
my kind of dance is really about connecting to what's who we are inside and giving that movement and space to express. So it's allowing us to really feel in deep to what's in presence with us, and then giving that a space, a shape, a sound, an expression. And what I've discovered over years of working with dance is that people really find a great sense of freedom because it's very, very embodied. I've got a big background in sort of meditation, shamanism, and various other things, and I found that through dance you can take away all of the language around what is spiritual and put it straight into the experiential, so people can have a direct experience of freedom and connection, and also joy, pleasure, and all of these wonderful things that happen in our bodies when we get ourselves here. Yeah.
Awesome. That sounds awesome. So, can you tell me a little bit about your background? You spoke a bit about your background is in meditation and shamanism. Tell us a bit about yourself.
Yeah, I've been on a spiritual quest path or awakening since I've been very young. Yeah, I met my first teacher when I was 16 and studied with her in sort of Yogananda's tradition of Kriya Yoga, which is a form of meditation. I studied healing and also intuitive counseling. So that was when I was 16 for about 7 years. And yeah, I was on a real sort of warrior's path with that, and I really very interested in going all the way in spirituality. Went to India and did all sorts of things like this, and then later on, I really realized that I hadn't really connected to my teenage years. I got very pure and very bright and very light, and I found myself in the jungle when I was about 25 in South America and studied with some shamans there. And it took me into a wilder place inside of me. I rediscovered the sort of the fire, the sort of Shiva energy, and
Mm.
yeah, it felt like Tarzan, to be honest. It's like, I absolutely love the jungle. Could have stayed there forever. Very nearly did. I took a friend of mine out there, and he has stayed. He's actually stayed in this community, so we kind of swapped pathways. And I feel very much my work is about bringing that power of nature or the goddess energy, the feminine, which is all about the body, and then connecting it to sort of great spirit, which you can access through meditation and healing and all these kind of other forms. So it's very much about
Mm.
having an integration between these two energies. Yeah.
Fab. I think one of the reasons that I like the energy of what the Bliss events do so much is because very often, just as your own journey has sort of shown, is that a lot of people who are on the spiritual path are chasing ascension, they're chasing the light, they're chasing those sort of transcendent experiences, and a lot of the lower, more embodied, more earthy experiences are left behind. And sometimes a lot of people come at life from the opposite direction. They come at life from being very earthy, very focused on solely this embodied experience, and are leaving out all of these transcendent possibilities and accessing consciousness in that way. And I think one of the things that I like most about what we're doing with the Bliss Festival is making joining the dots between all those things for a full embodied experience of life that's accessing the body, the mind, and the spirit, the body, mind, and consciousness. So
Yeah.
it sounds like what your journey and what your approach is really very much a match for the Bliss Festival. So that
Mm.
actually leads me perfectly on to ask you, why is it you're coming? Why are you bringing this festival? What's your draw?
Okay, we just had a sort of satellite glitch. I heard you say, "What are you bringing?"
Oh, okay.
But I guess you said, "What are you
Oh,
bringing to Ireland?"
yes. What are you bringing to Ireland, and what are
Yeah.
you bringing to the Bliss
Um,
Festival? And why? I suppose what's your draw? What's your draw to
well,
Ireland, and what's your draw to the Bliss Festival?
well, there's a few things. Okay, so my granny's Irish. She's from Killarney, yeah. And I
Mm.
used to live in Ireland years ago. I used to run a healing centre south of Limerick for a couple of years. So I have a deep, deep love for Ireland. It's in my blood, and yeah, just the land. I just feel very, very blessed when I'm in Ireland. There's just tremendous energy there.
Mm.
Um, yeah, I feel it's very ancient sort of Celtic energy, and so that the land itself, the magic, the mystery draws me. So the landscape has a very big impact on me wanting to be there.
Mm.
Bliss Festival, I don't know if you're aware, but I run a club called Bliss Conscious Clubbing in Sweden and Norway,
Yeah.
and it's as part of my business. I've been doing that for about 2 or 3 years, and that's all about awakening through conscious dance in celebration community environments.
Mm.
Um, so that was where I first came across Bliss. I think I was Googling one day Bliss, and you popped up. So you got my curiosity with the same word. And yeah, so for me, Bliss is very interesting actually because it's something to do with exactly what you say, but it's about connecting to our inner nature, but also very embodied at the same time, very grounding
Mm.
that. And there's something about the Irish people who are just very grounded, and although you have this great magical, mythic sort of background storytelling, passion, you also have a very kind of, like the Irish are chancers. They can do anything, they can build anything, they can put anything together, and I love that practical nature. And I feel that's translated very much in the spirituality. It's like there's no messing. It's like, if prayer doesn't
Mm.
work, it's not real prayer. If healing doesn't actually make an impact, then something needs to change. So there's no sort of airy fairy stuff around it. So I
Yeah.
really like very much coming to Ireland to really sort of manifest and ground and earth and bring that power into everyday life. Yeah,
Great.
yeah.
Fantastic. So you're offering one workshop, I think, at the festival on the Saturday morning, and I think I programmed you Saturday morning purposely to wake everybody up and to get those juices flowing for the rest of the weekend. So can you tell us a little bit about what else you do when you're not coming to Ireland and tuning into that energy? What else do you do with your time and yourself?
Well, yeah. So I'm a full-time father. So that's one thing I juggle with my 7-year-old son. Yeah, I've run 2 clubs in Scandinavia, Bliss Conscious Clubbing, one in Norway, one in Sweden. Um, I just created a club up in Manchester, co-created with a friend of mine last weekend, which is called the Cauldron. I love that name. So it's the Cauldron Conscious Clubbing. I'm also running a festival called Bliss Festival in Sweden in September, which is going to be a 4-day kind of celebration event, which will be very big at this beautiful festival site called Ansbacka.
Mm.
And yeah, just had a meeting this morning about making an enormous project, which is collaborating all of the conscious clubbing events around the UK and putting it into one big festival next year. So I'm very interested in gathering people together. I'm also a Bidanza teacher. I run weekend workshops. I was a director at a school for 6 years. I've also do this Colibri Heart shamanic trance dance. I've got a whole list of many different things
Mm.
that I do. I'm also a writer, making films, recording stuff, getting into music as well. So
Pretty
very
busy.
creative, very expressive. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. But give a busy man a job, really. That's what happens. I
Mm.
really offer my life to service for spirit, and spirit uses me in very beautiful ways. And I find myself traveling all over the world, offering different types of work. Yeah, so I'm in Czech Republic for the New Year, for example, and yeah, anywhere who wants to receive my work, I generally go there. Um, yeah, I'm in Copenhagen as well soon, so that's beautiful.
Great.
Yeah. Mm.
Fab.
But at
So
the same time, it's very very simple. It's like today I was at the circus with my son and just hanging out on the beach eating chips. So it's like that is as profound as any of these other things that I do. Being a good father
great.
is my real spiritual work. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah. Great. So, before we wrap up, is there anything else that you feel like you want to share with people about your workshop at the festival, about your work in general, or anything else that you just feel like sharing at this moment?
Yeah, I suppose I want to put out there is that I've been working with dance for years and years, and dance is for everybody. Everybody's a dancer. It's the first thing we do when we stand up, we wobble. That's our first dance. We do that before we start walking. And so it's connecting dance to heart, to expression, and to meeting other people. And I love this space that gets created in this kind of workshop ceremony environment where you meet beyond words. You meet in movement, you
Mm.
meet in energy, you meet in eye contact. And yeah, it's really, really quick access to connect people. And I love seeing that blossom in the workshop space. Devantra, the word comes from, it came to me one morning, and so it's got Deva, which means nature spirit. Yeah, so it's to do with the elemental forces that live inside of us. And
Mm.
Devantra is this sort of devotional tantra. So it's about, expanding the sexuality really into the heart center so that we really connect with love. Sex with the heart center creates love. So it's putting that into movement. Um, and I'm also, one thing I want to put across, which is very passionate for me, which is that it's all very well generating a sensuous existence, pleasurable existence, but for me it's about manifesting that in our everyday life and also manifesting that in the world. So it's a contribution for life on earth as well. And yeah, the more joyous we feel, the more joy we have to share with others. So it's about waking that up as well. Yeah, so it's personal awakening, but then
Absolutely.
spreads out. Yeah. And just the last
Yeah.
thing, just to really emphasize what you're saying about this, the shadow work as well, the darkness and balancing the light. I like to call a lot of the work I do luscious endarkenment. I'm not very interested in enlightenment. and, and just to make the distinction between the shadow is that sometimes people talk about shadow work and it is going into all that kind of childhood wounding that we all have to wade our way through, our emotional clearing and healing. But also the other face of darkness is the divine goddess, and it's the safe darkness. It's the darkness of the womb. It's the return to the beloved and the unknown and the great mystery. And so, I work with two faces of the darkness, the healing aspect and also going into the beauty of the sacred feminine. And this is when we really get inside our bodies in a very, very beautiful way. And,
Mm.
when we feel great, we start to just love each other naturally. And all that gets expressed in the dance. All that can happen in an hour and a half of dance with the Tantra dance. Yeah.
Absolutely. I very much look
Mm.
forward to seeing that magic and that cauldron open up at the festival in Galway.
Yeah, no, I really look forward to
Excellent.
come
So
visit.
brilliant. So what I'll do is I'll put a link to your website in the description of this video. So if people want to check you out and have a nose around and see what you're all about before the festival, they can do that. And otherwise, we'll see you in Galway in just over a week.
I tell you what would be better if people went to the Facebook page and looked up a thing called Guidebooks, which is Guyde books, because my website is really out of date. They could go
Okay,
there,
well,
of
I can
course, and
put a
have a
link.
look.
I can put a link to the Facebook page too.
That'd be great. Yeah, lovely.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Okay, perfect. Thanks so much for your time this evening, Guy, and we'll see you in Ireland very soon.
yeah, pleasure, Beth. Yeah, all the best.
Thanks.
All the best. All the best. All the best.